Gas masks and grenades. Gas masks and grenades. Gas masks and grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
Welcome to Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. I am your host, Jeff, and look who I dragged. Look what the cat dragged in over here. Mr. Cirith Ungol. Am I saying that right? Because I've read different readings of how it's pronounced.
Well, we played in Germany at the Rock Hard Festival, and we did an interview for German TV. And the lady asked me, she goes, "Is it true you speak Elvish?" And I said no, because if we did, we would have pronounced our name correctly, like it's supposed to be in the book. It's supposed to be Cirith Ungol. And,
Okay.
I think I read The Lord of the Rings 3 times through,
Yeah.
but I never read the appendix where you actually pronounce the words correctly.
Okay. I never did either. I read them maybe twice, back when I was a teenager. I probably don't remember much of it. But, well, that being said, Mr. Cirith Ungol, Mr. Robert Garven himself is here joining me today. Thanks for being here, Robert. Really appreciate it, man. You're doing a little bit of promo for the new live album that just came out on the 25th. I'm glad you have a copy of it because I don't have mine yet. So I was going to show a picture. Do you want to hold that up a little closer so that my subscribers can see it there a little better? Oh, maybe it's going to be it's going to be a pain. All right. Well, I'll pull up a show and tell here real quick. We'll do this. How about we do this? All right, there it is.
Perfect.
There we go. There's the new Live at the Roxy, the famous Roxy. Robert, I've been to LA at least 5 times in my life, and I've never been to the Roxy, weirdly. I don't know why that happened to me, but it just did. Is that weird? I guess it's kind of weird, right?
No. But the Roxy's one of the, I don't know, there was a handful of clubs down there that were significant, always for like rock music, hard rock music,
Sure.
heavy metal, Whiskey Go Go. We played on, we have a funny story at the Whiskey when they were filming the Richard Pryor Live on the Sunset Strip.
Oh, really? You were
We
there?
were standing at the door of the Whiskey, before we went on.
Wow.
And we saw this limousine drive by with the giant trailer thing being dragged behind it with a camera on it. And we had no idea what it was. It was just some, apparition to us. But then
Right.
later on, when the movie came out, they're driving down the Sunset Strip, and you can kind of see us in the doorway, and our name's up on the
Oh,
marquee.
wow. No way. What year is this? Like 82,
Oh boy,
81, 80, somewhere in the 80s?
yeah, somewhere in the '80s. I'd be guessing if I told you, so I don't want to be stupider than I already am.
I'll
But
have to look that up. That's crazy cool, man. How about
yeah,
that?
it's an amazing. You can find, a couple of places online. You can find the video, but it's right at the very beginning. And once again, it's driving past all the places. So we played the Whiskey. We played the Starwood, which is another infamous
Oh,
place.
yeah. Yep.
There's a movie about John Holmes and uh,
Yep.
played by Val Kilmer. About a giant murder thing there. Well, the guy that was involved in that whole murder mystery thing was one of the guys that owned the Starwood, and that was another really famous club. And I have a story about that. Richie Blackmore, there was a VIP thing upstairs, and because we were playing there, they would let us up there, and Richie Blackmore was there. And so I sat down, was talking to him, and I sat down, and we had a beer together, and he was wearing
Mhm.
a blue velvet jacket. So the next day I went out and bought a blue velvet jacket.
Oh, yeah.
So, so getting back to the Roxy, we played there before in around 1984. And, I've been around so long, there's stories for everything. When we played there before, this was back in the days where, even though MTV was around, we didn't really have much access to video stuff. So there was a guy there with a video cam on a tripod. You'd give him a tape and $20, and he'd film your set. So they filmed that set. And when the band got back together in 2015, 2016, Metal Blade re-released our album King of the Dead, and inside that CD was a DVD of our first show at the Roxy in 1984.
That was the
And s-
show. Okay.
and so
Yeah.
this was I think our first appearance there at the Roxy. And it was kind of, we had a funny story about that. It's like we played at the Roxy and the video was good, but the sound was bad. And we played another place down there called the Country Club, which was another kind of cool venue. And the sound was good on that video, but the video, the video part was bad.
Right.
Luckily, I had a cassette tape of the Roxy show, and I had a good friend who's recently passed away, but he put together the digital video or
Meshing
transformed
it.
the VHS to digital, and then attached the cassette that I had to it. And so, if you look around, you can probably find that online too. The original Roxy show. Now, this whole show came about is because our album came out, Forever Black came out right during the pandemic. And so we
Right.
started working on our next album, Dark Parade. Um, we never played an entire album live ever at a show. And so the thought was, hey, let's have a show at the Roxy, like an album release party. And then they were
Right.
going to film it and make a live album. And it actually came out really good. I'm highly critical of everything that we do. And it came out. Remarkable, and I was really pleased. And it's the first video that the band's ever had that was on any professional level whatsoever.
Yeah, I watched it. Somebody, of course, you know how it goes. Somebody posted it on YouTube, and I found it. I found it last night, and I'm dealing with an abscessed tooth that's driving me insane. I have to have some dental stuff done, and I could not sleep last night. So I'm like, I wonder if anybody threw that up yet online. And I chased it down, and yeah, man, it's great. And I gotta say, look, I'm gonna be completely transparent with you. I tried to get into you guys back in the 90s. By tried, what I mean is that I'm like, man, first of all, the artwork, the Michael Whalen artwork, always sucked me in right away because I was a big Michael Moorcock fan. I read all the Elric of Melnibones, the Rune Staff, all that shit was just super cool. Super nerdy, but super fucking cool, right? But so that was what dragged me in. But when I got in, man, I struggled with Tim's voice at first. I was like, man, I really love this music, but it's just such a weird voice. I don't know if I can dig it right now. But here's the deal. When the not Dark Parade, what was the one before it? I'm sorry.
Forever Black.
Yeah, Forever Black. When that came out, I dove in again. That was because that came out like right in 2020, if I remember right, or 20.
Yes.
Yeah, like right in March or something like that. I think right.
It was released the same day the pandemic was announced, I
Right
think.
when they shut everything down. I remember that. And I went back in and there was a lot going on in everybody's lives at that time. Things were getting really, really weird. I threw it on and I'm like, man, it's still that voice. I just don't know. But here's the deal. I'm gonna come fully clean with you, man. When I came out to Denver, you guys got a great response. I mean, you guys got a great response. People fucking loved you. And I was right up on the barrier. I walked away a massive Cirith Ungol fan. I was like, what was wrong with me that I didn't get this the first time around? And the second time around. The third time was a charm, dude. It was like, this shit rips. Not only that, the riffs are just what I love about your band is the riffs are king. They're just awesome. Every riff in every song. I'm a guitar player. So, man, it's just an orgy of riffs. And but Tim's voice clicked with me live, man. He was great. You guys were just awesome. And then getting to meet you afterwards was super cool too. So sometimes it just takes some of us dummies a little longer to kind of get it. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not alone. When the band first started, I think when our first or second album, King of the Dead, came out, a guy wrote us, said, I love your band, but I hate your singer. He sucks. It's horrible. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, we got the letter from the same guy, and he says, the more I listen to it, now he's my favorite singer. But our band's not for everyone, and we never expected to be. We just wanted
Sure.
to create our own version of what we thought was true heavy metal, growing up on all the bands that we did, going back to like Blue Cheer, Budgie, Cream, Jimi
Sure.
Hendrix, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, all that kind of stuff, right? So, we're an oddity that I think we kind of exist to please ourselves, and sometimes we're more astounded that other people like us, than they don't like us. You know what I mean? So you're now officially a member of the Cirith Ungol Legions of Chaos.
I'm in, dude. I'm all fucking in. I've got a bunch of stuff on order, and I ordered some the earlier stuff, and I've got this one. I'm not usually a big live album guy, but I got to support bands like you because you're not the Metallica level dudes. You need that. You need that, and Brian needs that to keep hopefully producing more albums in the future. Now, I got a little bone to pick with you though,
Okay.
because I watched some podcasts from like last year, and you made a very definitive statement that the band was done playing at the end of 2024. Now, the end of 2024 was the show, at least to my knowledge, was the show in Denver. Headline, or you guys were the undercard. I forget. Were you under Yob? I guess you were the band before Yob.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And yet, I'm pretty sure you just played in South America, didn't you?
Yeah, we did 5 shows in South America.
So you lied to me. You lied to me.
No. Here's the story, and then I got to share
Understood.
this with your viewers and everyone. Okay, the band was at a point, where we were kind of right before this live show. We were struggling. We thought there was no way forward, and we thought the band was over. Our guitarist had just left, Jimmy, amazing guitarist. He played on Paradise Lost, the last album before we kind of took that break in 1991. And we kind of saw no way future going. And so, Armand, who owns a studio that recorded our last 3 albums, and he's the guitarist for Night Demon, he very graciously said, look, I'll step in and play this Roxy show, because we had the filming, the recording, everything booked to make this live album happen. And it was album release party, but he was kind of busy doing other stuff with the studio and with his other band Night Demon, which is kind of like
Right.
a upcoming band, right? So
Sure.
he said, I'll do
Jarvis,
this.
we should mention
Yeah.
Jarvis is in Night Demon as well.
He's also the guy that got us back together. He talked us into getting back together. So without him, there wouldn't be none of this. So anyway, Armand said he would sit in, and within around a week, he knew most of this stuff because he recorded it, but he picked it up. We played. And so he agreed to play a few more shows on this final tour thing. But as we're going, it's just like when the band got back together, it was like a snowball rolling downhill. And I have to tell you, the minute we announced the final tour thing, I was kind of regretting it because I wasn't ready to quit yet. We just had a lot of stuff pulling on us, and so basically we saw no path forward, and then miraculously this path opened up, and we're kind of still on that. And we were in Europe last year, and I actually did a big article with Decibel magazine, and I told him, I said, look, man, I'm going to do everything I can to keep the band. And I mean, I was trying to be the guy keeping everything happening. So
Sure.
the good news is I think I've talked everyone into kind of going on a little bit farther. And we're actually working on some new music right now. And I think we're going to have another album better than Dark Parade. And so,
Wow.
and I apologize. I never Tim had a story. He went and saw Scorpion's final tour with his son when his son was 14. And that was like 30 years ago.
They're still on the
Yeah.
final tour, right? Same thing with Kiss,
so-
right? Their final tour.
And Jarvis was upset and kind of worried. So were a lot of the promoters in Europe. If we play anything after this, we're going to look kind of like some of the other bands that have done this in the past. So my thing is, I want this to be like Kiss's final tour. It's going to go on for 5 more years. And then that way, it's still our final tour, but we can have another album out, play some shows we never got to go anywhere, to play.
Are you getting booked? I mean, are you getting a lot of offers?
Well, we're playing a show. We hardly ever play. A lot of our fans are pretty much all over the world. And my joke is we could fill the LA Coliseum, but every seat would be taken by someone from a different city in the United States, right? It's hard to get them all together.
Right. Yeah.
So we're playing in San Diego at a big heavy metal swap meet, which is actually a pretty big thing that people come from all over the country to go there and sell and trade heavy metal memorabilia.
When's that?
I think it's coming up. It's later on this year. Once again, I don't have the date right in front of me, but it's in October, November, and it's in San Diego, California. And I think it's going to be kind of an exciting thing because we hardly ever play. Like I said, we hardly ever play in California. So,
well, look, and again, of course, I'm pulling your leg. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I was wondering because I remember talking to you guys after the show in Denver. And going, so this is it. This is the end. And you guys were both like, you and Tim were both sort of cagey about it. Well, you know, did they say that? Did we say that? I don't know. Did we really say that? And I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. But then I noticed on your Facebook page, I'm like, well, goddamn, they just played in March in South America. That's awesome. So, look, man, you know, if there's a demand and you guys physically feel like you can do it, and I got to tell you, you absolutely crushed it at Denver. And Armand, wow, what a guitar player, man. I was right in front of him the whole time. It was like an orgy for my ears. I'm just like, this dude rips. And I hate to say this, I didn't really realize he was in Night Demon because I know Night Demon, but I've never listened to Night Demon. I need to get on that. So,
Yeah, no, they're really powerful, more British new wave of heavy metal, you know, and I
yeah.
think that's why Armand likes playing in our band too, because he's been in some other like blues hard rock bands, and he's been in some other musical stuff. And once again, he owns his own recording studio, which is pretty awesome. So I think him being in our band lets him explore like another side of his musical
Oh,
interest,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And you know, he's amazing. Jarvis is amazing. Uh, so I just
Now, am I wrong?
I'm having a lot of fun right now. And my thing is, I hope we didn't like mislead anyone. That was never the intention, and this was never really about making money. It was, you know, a lot of bands would say, okay, this is our final tour, and they sell out 100 arenas. This was more like, you know, we're getting older, and who knows how much longer this is going to go. I just don't want to ever be like a parody of ourselves. So the joke is, we're going to keep going till, you know, the wheels fall off. And my joke is, I think two wheels have already fallen off. So I'm like, I'm a motorcycle right now. So
I hear you, dude. I hear you, man. I mean, I'm a little behind you, but not that far behind you. I just turned 59. So I know it's like, you know, suddenly every part of me hurts all the time. It's not one of those things where I get a good night's rest. I wake up the next day and I'm ready to rock and roll. It's like, oh God, man. I did some shows this week. I went up to New York City to hang out with my buddy Kelly in Atheist, and I missed my train home. My 2 a.m. train I missed and couldn't come back until 5 a.m. So I'm sitting in a bar in New York City on a Thursday night drinking Guinness going, what am I doing? I should be home. Most dudes my age are home in bed right now. What am I doing there, you know? But that's my life. I do that kind of stuff. So was I wrong about this? Was Greg not at he was not at the show in Denver, right?
yeah, you know, I mean, that's the thing. We're getting older. I'll be 69 in June, you know, so
Crazy.
we're getting to the point where, you know, we're kind of like near the sunset of our careers. You know, we're like elder statesmen of heavy metal, but also too, you know, as long as we have something to offer, we're going to keep going. Now, Greg's had some issues, also too, some issues, you know, with traveling and stuff. So, you know, he wasn't at any of our shows in South America. Uh, but you know, I mean, we're here's what I'm telling people. It's like when you go to a dance, you dance with the girl that's there, that's willing to dance with you. You don't
You're
dance
right.
with the girl that's in your dreams that you wish, you know,
Right, right.
whoever it is, Olivia Wilde, or you know,
I got you. I got
Blake
you.
Lively, or whoever's in
Right, right,
anyone's,
right.
you know,
Jennifer
those aren't
Aniston.
my, yeah,
Jennifer
those aren't my,
Aniston here.
yeah,
Yeah.
those aren't my dreams, you know.
Yeah, right, right.
But so we're going out and playing, and the people that show up or the guys that are on stage is we're going to do it. You know, Greg is an amazing guitarist. He did some amazing stuff on this live show. Uh, and I was really, like I said, I'm really critical of everything we do. And that night I was really, really sick. I had like some really bad flu going on,
No, no.
and I even called up and I said, "Hey man, we need to cancel this. I'm really ill. You know, I don't want to get other people sick and stuff." And they go, "We can't. You know, we got all the, you know, the video guys
Advertise.
lined up, everything. You know, the show sold out, whatever." And so I got up there and played, and I was actually pretty astounded that I played as good as I did. I thought I'd
Sounded
say
great to me,
not.
man.
Yeah, if you're watching the video, if you look
Yep.
at me, everyone says I'm smiling, which I'm probably doing now. My goal is to growl at the crowd, you know, but I guess it
Uh-huh.
comes out looking like I'm smiling, so I apologize for that.
Well,
But
it's
I,
kind
I
of fun.
think,
The one thing I did note was most of you guys were all wearing your shades initially, and then at some point you took yours off. Like I noticed that, like a couple songs, it probably the sweat was fogging the. You were probably sweating a lot of that garbage out. But so real quick to get back to the album because I know we got to cut this fast.
yes,
I'm usually a talker and I can go on for a good hour easy. But you guys do the full album, Dark Parade, the first set technically speaking. And then you take a break and you come back and you do all the classic Ungol songs, and all the classics are on there. I mean, it's loaded with killer tracks. The audio is fantastic. I don't know who recorded it for you. It's really was well done.
Yeah, we took that straight off the board.
Okay.
And we put it together in Armand Studio. But to be honest, there wasn't much. We didn't do much with it other than just kind of tweak the EQs and stuff. I was, like I said, I was amazed that it came out. At least the new album part as well as it did. Not that I expected it to be bad, but I'm just pleased when stuff comes out better than I thought it was going to be. And
That's always a benefit. Yeah. Right.
But listen, gas mask and hand grenades. I have a gas mask. I'll have to get a hand grenade, but I know this has to be cut short today, but let's get together soon. We'll talk about something else coming up. Okay.
Absolutely, dude. We can definitely do that. Like, do you have any sense of timing for when you might do a new album? When did Dark Parade came out? That came out end of 23, right?
Yeah, it was like it was the same day as it was released, the same day as our show, so it was like October.
Oh, okay. So this show was recorded back in October of 23.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was. Yeah. Let me look at this real quick. October 20th. That was the album release date, and that was the show. So.
Well, it's really well done. You guys are a band that, like I said, man, I fought it long and hard, but it won me over. Tim won me over. He was super cool. You guys were very super cool to meet, which I love when that happens, when you meet guys like you guys at a show after the show, and you're appreciative of us. You're as much of appreciative of us as we are of you. And that was wicked. And the riffs, dude, the riffs, the power of the riff, man. Like,
I hate bad riffs. That's why I want to do another album. I think continuous improvement. I think every riff we come up with has to be better than the one we just finished with. And we fought almost bloody fist fights on albums before just to change one note to make sure that every riff is, like you said, is good. I can't tolerate. It's heavy metal. It's riff rock, right? If the riff's bad, then the song's bad. So
hell yeah, man. And I gather, is Armand, is he going to be helping write? Is he writing with you?
We're working on material right now. Yeah, no, everyone in the band's always, this has never been, with the exception of Frost and Fire, most of that stuff Greg had written. We put that album out as an attempt to get kind of record company interest in the band. So we put what we thought was our most accessible. Back then, it had to be something they'd play on the radio, right? And when the radio station said, hey, this is too heavy, we just pulled out all the plugs, and that's when the album King of the Dead came out. And we said, well, if our radio airplay stuff, or AR, what they called it at the time, is too heavy, we're going to show this is our real heavy stuff. So that's how King of the Dead and One Foot in Hell, the other albums, came out. So I think we're always going to try to do our best. And like I said, we're a bunch of guys from California that love heavy metal, and we're not rock stars. We're like you. We're fans ourselves. So
I just wanted to hit one last thing here before we go. On your Instagram, it looks like you're a tinker. You say you like working on cars. You're a mechanic, shade tree mechanic. And I noticed you had some Ferrari pictures on there. Is that your Ferrari that you have?
Yeah, I have two old Ferraris, a 74 and a 75 Dino. And I'm too poor to have someone else work on them, so I do all the work on them myself. It was a dream of mine. If you like cars, Ferrari's 4,000 race victories. How can you? They're struggling right now, but when my car came out, my 75, they were world champion, and they're just amazing. Being a drummer, everything falls apart and breaks. It's having a Ferrari, everything. You have to spend all your time like making sure everything's working correctly.
So I got a quick funny story. So my stepfather, rest in peace, he passed away in 2014. He sold a company. He was an engineer, and he worked for all kind of other people and gave them his designs and ideas. Finally, he started his own company and said, I'm keeping this one for me. Built up a really, really nice company, sold it to a German company for quite a penny. And the first thing he rewarded himself with was a Ferrari F355.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's a V. My car was the first V8 car that they ever made for production, and then
Okay.
that's one of the later versions.
I thought that was a 16. No, I thought his was a
No,
16.
no, they're all those are V8s. There was a
Okay,
308, a
V8.
328, 348, 355,
So here's
360.
here's the funny part of the story. Everyone in the family got to drive that car but me, because he didn't trust me to drive the car because I used to like to go really fast. And he's like, "You, I don't trust. I'd like to let you drive it, but I just don't trust you. I think you'll end up in jail if I give you the keys to this and let you drive." So, but yeah, let's do this again at some point, Robert. I will if I will I'll get your email from Liz, if that's
Yeah,
cool.
and I'm on Instagram and
I can
Facebook
hit you up there
under my
too.
name. Send me a
Yeah, and
message.
when something's happening and you're ready to, get a little bit further on with maybe some info about the album, would love to have you on. But even if you just want to come on and talk about the stories, I mean, you gave me a couple quick stories, but I know you got a lot more, I'm sure, especially in
I'm a
Europe.
talker. I'm a talker like you, and I think we could do this for an entire afternoon.
I think we probably could too. So let's make it a date. I appreciate your time today, sir. You have a great afternoon. Okay.
Hey, thank
Oh,
you.
and real quick before we go, everybody, Maryland Death Fest, that's coming up here in 2 weeks. And this Saturday night on my channel, we're doing a Maryland Death Fest pre-game party for all the guys in my YouTube clique that are going to the thing. And I don't know what because I'm flying out to San Francisco on next Friday, to see Emperor and Agalok. I'm good friends with the Agalok guys. And then coming home and getting 1 day's rest and starting Maryland Death Fest. That no 59-year-old dude should be doing that. It's just, when am I going to grow up? My mom would probably say so. But anyways, everybody check out the Saturday night stream, 9 o'clock, Maryland Death Fest. Everybody go check out Cirith Ungol. They're a fucking killer band. Go check them out. And the album came out on Metal Blade on April 25th, live at the Roxy. And that's only your second live album, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go. So,
Hey, have fun at
album.
Have fun at the Death Fest. I've been there before.
Have you? Yeah. When did you go?
Well, I think we played a Maryland Doom Fest actually, which was kind of
Okay.
maybe 3 years ago or something like that.
Was that the Day of Darkness? Day of Darkness?
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
I
I
think
kind of get
that's
them
what it was.
confused, but it was in Baltimore. So
It's the same group of dudes. I think the same group of people, but the Day of Darkness Fest, they mix it up a little bit. They don't. It's not all death and black metal and grind and stuff. That Death Fest is pretty much. They don't do a whole lot of like even new wave of British heavy metal. That's for some of these other fests. So, but yeah, man, we're gonna talk again. I guarantee it. We're gonna get together. So I really appreciate your time, Robert, and my best to the other lads. And take care, man.
thank you.
All right, peace out, bro.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. And we will catch you all on Saturday night for the Maryland Death Fest pre-fest at 9 o'clock. I got Jimmy from Future Ruins. The Thralls of Metal guys are going to be on. And then there's a bunch of people that aren't YouTubers that I think are going to be jumping on. So hop in for that. Hey, Ed, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man. You missed most of it, but you can watch it on the rewind there. And this has to be like a record, probably one of my shortest interviews, but I kind of knew that going in that it was only going to be about a 25-minute interview. So really cool guy. We'll get Robert back on here again, maybe even get Robert and Tim on if possible. Sorry. And I think that's it. There probably is not going to be a lot of activity on the channel. I'm looking, there's one other thing I'm hoping to get sorted out. An artist that's playing Maryland Death Fest. I'm waiting to see if I can confirm that. So I don't really want to mention the name as yet, but it's not an artist that typically does a lot of interviews, but I think I've got a good line on making that happen. So keep an eye out for that. But from here on out, I've got a ton of shows that I'm dealing with, and I got to get this dental thing squared away as soon as my infection is gone and get this tooth pulled because it's driving me out of my mind. And once that's done, yeah, I got a ton of shows. I'm supposed to go see Tormentor and Diva tomorrow night. I don't know if I'm going to make it because of this, but we'll see. Sunday, I'm seeing Emperor and Wolves in the Throne Room. Tuesday, I believe I'm going back up to New York to see Enslaved. Thursday, seeing Testament in Baltimore. And then Friday, I fly out to San Francisco for Agalloch and Emperor on Saturday, next Saturday, not this, but next. And then back home on Monday for Maryland Death Fest. And then I'll probably disappear for like, I don't know, a week of sleep, or maybe, who knows? This might be my suicide trip. You never know. And I don't mean it that way. I just mean that all the stuff that I'm doing might end up killing me. So thanks to Robert again for being here, and thanks for playing nice in the chat. Yeah, I'm not going down that road anymore, guys. So if you're gonna come in here looking for that kind of stuff, you're just gonna get blocked. People are gonna get blocked, and that's just how I'm gonna roll from here on out. So that's kind of the deal. I'm not gonna get that stressed out about it. People can judge me however they want. I don't care. I'm not going to.